In a few moments, we will speak to a guest about a story from London, Ontario, concerning a school that sent home a letter to children's parents asking them not to pack lunches that contain any meat or fish or pretty much anything else for religious reasons. Such food might apparently offend people of various religious sensibilities. Now, London, of course, has a significant Islamic population, and I can't think of any other religions that might be insulted by these foods, but more of that later. I mean, some may be vegetarian, but none insist on other people eating in a particular way. As soon as the story was exposed in the media, the school said, "Oh, it was all a huge mistake." Well, of course it was. Just one that was ignored by the school until it was made public. Oh, please. Your hypocrisy and your cowardice are as bad as your politically correct fanaticism. You know it's bad. You know things are bad when even Russian television laments political correctness. When even the heirs to the humorless, murderous Soviet Union tell us to get a sense of humor.
My apologies.
MSNBC apologizes.
We apologize. I'd like to apologize.
Political correctness gone mad in the U.S. From media pundits and giggle fests.
I'm a pussy willow branch.
It's really so stupid.
To advertising trying to spice up an old concept like Oreos and milk, to sports managers praising Fidel Castro.
I'm very, very, very sorry.
Even political comedians mixing religion and female body parts.
Maybe women could protect their reproductive organs from unwanted medical intrusions with vagina mangers.
Saying anything in public, even when obviously joking, has become a minefield.
You say something off color, you tweet something off color, all of a sudden you've got 15 people criticizing you for whatever as in an attempt to take you down a notch.
Pushing an increasing number of people into endless apologies.
Anderson Cooper should not have had to give a public apology for giggling at the word pussy willow. I think that's adorable. That's just the 10-year-old boy in him emerging and scampering about in short pants.
Adorable. Harmless, actually. Jon Stewart, though, who is such a bloody hypocrite with what he did there, well, he wouldn't do that about other religions, but we move on. In a similar theme of political correctness and control obsession, also read today that neurotic nuts want to place, and this is later on in the show, warning labels on alcohol that are similar to those on tobacco. You know the sort of thing, adult blackened body organs and such like. Alcohol is already sold with warnings, but these labels will be repugnant to look at. More than that, they're horribly misleading and dishonest. Tobacco may calm you a little, but it's in no way beneficial, and it is usually extremely harmful. Alcohol is damaging if abused, but in moderation, is not only harmless, but actually quite beneficial. But a red wine will help the heart and settle the stomach. The feeling of bonhomie from a glass of scotch or a beer is helpful. And it's good. It comforts, a bit of ease and gentleness. So it's abuse, not use of alcohol. That's the problem. But for God's sake, we know that. We don't need some petty, pathetic, puny little medical activist or killjoy trying to alter an ancient way of life and a noble tradition by assuming that he knows better than everybody else, and that we're all idiots who can't be trusted to make sound decisions. Whatever is on a label, people will still act either foolishly or wisely. Look, AIDS has tragically made a return to the male gay community in North America because gay men are once again ignoring medical advice. Well, perhaps we should put labels on gay clubs with graphic pictures of the tragic consequences of homosexual promiscuity. Yeah, exactly. It's never going to happen, is it? Look, guys, leave us alone. Allow people to make their own decisions, give us the human dignity, and stop attacking who we are and what we are merely because you think that we won't fight back and are not part of some powerful community interest. Now, finally, and this, you won't even believe this, a PC story from Britain, where a law-abiding, tax-paying cafe owner was arrested, endured 8 hours of questioning by the police, had his computer seized. It'll be 3 weeks before he gets it back, after making, well, maybe a tasteless joke about Nelson Mandela on the internet. It wasn't even that bad. Neil Phillips, he was fingerprinted, DNA swabbed, after the police received a complaint about something he had posted online. This is what it was, and I quote, "My computer takes so long to shut down, I've decided to call it Nelson Mandela." Well, I mean, it's a bit tasteless, but really? He went on to say, "It was an awful experience. I was fingerprinted. They took DNA and my computer. It was a couple of jokes. There was no hatred. You can question the taste, but they're not hateful. I told the police I got plenty of likes. What happened to freedom of speech? I think they overreacted massively. Yeah. Look, it wasn't that funny, but it wasn't offensive either. But even if it was offensive, so what? Unless you threaten to kill someone, say whatever you want to say. I mean, Mandela's South Africa happens to be the rape and murder centre of the world and is a colossal failure waiting to explode. And yes, there is now an overreaction to the man's passing. His ability to forgive and embrace is legendary and magnificent, but his country is a morbid failure. Again, it's not the point. The police, the state in Britain, here in Canada, the US, have increasingly taken on the role of moral guardian and interfering social worker. This is the second wave of political correctness, and it's even worse in many ways, even worse and more worrying than the first. Faith Goldie and lunch. Now, our friend Andrew Lawton exposed this. This is a letter sent home that said no meat, eggs, fish, religious reasons to kids to give to their parents. Only when Andrew said, hey, this is wrong, then the school said, oh, it was a mistake. Why did it take them so long for them to say it was a mistake?
Because I don't think they ever intended to reveal it as being a quote-unquote mistake until it was revealed to the public. And really very few people outside of Andrew Lawton and you here are actually covering the story. So what happened was that, as in most schools, there was sort of an inventory taken of allergies of students. And then it was up to the teachers to basically take care of their own form room. And so one form teacher said, had all the kids, fill out what are you allergic to. And I guess one kid put down meat, eggs, and fish for religious reasons. And so she put that on a list that was then sent out, or a note sent out to parents. And the parents were told to, quote, refrain from sending these items listed above. Now, I went to a school where we weren't allowed peanut butter. I, admittedly, was a pleasantly plump child. I loved my peanut butter. I used to sneak in peanut butter to school. There, I said it, okay? To the point where the lunch lady used to come around and say, what's that? I'd hide it behind my back or what have you. But anyway, I think even that, the whole peanut butter ban is excessive. But this, it's not a matter about anaphylactic life or death. This is a religious choice. Is an Islamic child in there? I don't know. I know that Hinduism and Sikhism, they all have these sorts of restrictions which are perfectly optional. But look,
they don't impose it on other people.
But that's the whole thing. Michael, it's Advent right now. We as Christians are fasting in various different ways. Just because, let's say, I'm, for example, abstaining from meat. Do I say no one in the newsroom can have a steak in front of me? No, that's ludicrous. So why are we teaching children at a young age to have essentially the entire populace around them make special exceptions for them based on their own personal choice?
This is one small example. It's happening time and time again. One child, one parent, one pushy parent says, I don't, I'm offended, this is wrong, that is, and suddenly the whole school has to. What happened to saying to parents, thank you, now go away?
Yeah, but it's one particular kind of parent. Michael, we brought forward others crazy school board run amok stories here of sexually explicit and lewd materials inside a classroom. There was, our entire viewer base rose up and said, this is unacceptable. Yeah. We are offended. And the man was basically kicked out with pay and then re-accepted. So I'm not too sure what kind of exceptions we're making, but we've gone into basically a socially selective censorship that is sending us all to the loony bin.
I don't believe it,
What's that?
That you were a pleasantly plump child.
Oh, it was more plump than pleasant.
We're going to get photos whether you like it or not. Faith Goldie, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Michael.